Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you happen to be watching this. I hope you're having a wonderful day. This, as the title says, is Citations of Beginnings, a beginning, excuse me. We're going to talk about the citations that you may need to do for the ideology paper reacting to the McDonald book, and we may also have to take a quick look at the citation, which will be closer to a works cited citation for the annotated bib. I want to give a couple of due dates and give a source for especially the internal citations, but also the works cited page in general. So that's what we're going to try to get done here today. As always, all borrowed images and quoted text are used for educational purposes. I'm not a professional YouTuber. This video is not monetized. I'm just trying to help my students write a couple of papers, and if they miss class, give them a way to access lecture notes. The due dates for the ideology paper, the propaganda paper, the Where is McDonald Coming From paper, Friday the 26th of 2024. I'm not making you go back in time. 2024. The proposal due is due the 31st of 2024. Even though it's going to get a sort of a paper grade, remember it's a cut and paste, uh, copy and paste, a couple paragraphs here and there. It's not a paper per se. The annotated bib is due the 7th. We're having conferences on the 9th through the 14th, and the research paper is due the 21st. For the conferences, you will be asked to bring at least one page for your research paper, and we'll sit down and talk through all of those. There will be a sign-up sheet for conferences that I'll start handing out in classes next week, and people can sign up for it. Starting with the why bother. The ideology paper is just an example of us taking a look at where's a particular writer, in this case McDonald, coming from. I hope that people understand that nearly everyone who publishes something is likely trying to be an influencer, trying to get you to agree with his or her or their point of view. Hopefully, people will recognize that there are philosophies and ideologies underlying nearly every text. In this case, it was sort of a New Age philosophy, a New Age ideology, and we had 3 or 4 different ways of labeling that in class, but that's what we were trying to see what he was doing, and to work to react rationally. One of the things that I want people to be able to do in this class is to come in contact with things that they may not agree with, but find a way to react to the things they don't agree with without reverting to anger, without reverting to screaming and shouting, and hopefully acting in a rational, thoughtful manner to this paper or to the connection paper later on the semester. Hopefully that will happen. The proposal exists just to avoid late minute panic because the topic isn't going to work. The annotated bib is evaluating sources, and to avoid the I got to have 4 sources, so I'm just going to find a sentence and stick it in so I can get the grade, use of a quotation. Read a few of your sources, know what's in them, have an idea of what's going on before you sit down and actually work on the paper. Let's talk about in-text citations. The McDonald book in particular has some problems. We have quoted, McDonald quotes a lot of people. So in this case, in his final intervention, the watcher quotes Robert Adams. Do not look for signs, do not look for experiences, do not be so complicated, become like a child, see everything with awe. And you'll notice this citation just says quoted in McDonald 79. I know that it comes from Robert Adams. McDonald didn't try to quote didn't necessarily need to give me anything else. He just quoted Robert Adams. I wanted everybody to understand that this quotation that expresses a particular ideology comes from Robert Adams, not from McDonell. So it was quoted in McDonell. Perhaps you could go, the watcher tells Reed, do not look for signs. You'll notice that Adams is in the body of the uh, writing up above. His name is not mentioned here. So I'm going to do Adams quoted in McDonell 79. And again, the page number. Continuing. Again, I've got Robert Adams in there, quoted in McDonell. If you have the name in your text and it's somebody that author, McDonell in this case, quoted, just use the quoted and go from there. And it's the same thing. Robert Adams claims, do not look for signs. And then I'm just quoting him in McDonell. Any form where the name is in there, just go with that and then quote it in, and then your source. The source, the purpose of this part is to make it easy to find it on your works cited page. You're always going to begin with the author's last name. This is the author's last name. In-text citations, as I just got done saying, use the author's last name so that it's easier to find the full citation on the works cited page. Reading those early Marvel comic books by Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, and Steve Ditko was life-altering. Author's last name, McDonell, page 6. If you have his name in your writing, McDonell found those early Marvel comic books by Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, and Steve Ditko, life-altering. Page 6 gets you there. We're not dealing with web pages on the McDonell paper, but web pages are the same thing. Use the author if known. You're just not going to have a page number. And if you need to go with something else, you can again put the name up in front and go from there. Okay? And I'm pretty sure I copied and pasted everything from the Penn State website. So you'll notice that on the works cited page, it has a Z in the name. On the citation, it has an S in the name. I don't think that's my mistake. Moving on, if there's no author available, you're going to use the first thing from the works cited page. In this case, it's going to be the title of the article, All Things Nittany. So on the works cited sample, it's going to say All Things Nittany. The website is about Penn State. It's on the Penn State University website. The date was 2006. Here's the link so that people can go check. And here's the link where I stole it from. But if there's no author available, you put it, your citation has the first words of whatever the next thing is on the text. So if the author is going to be the first thing and you don't have an author, the next thing's the title of the article. The annotated bibliography, I think I have 4 slides here that I'm just going to run through quickly. Number 1 is cite the source using the MLA format, author's last name, comma, first name, period, the title of the article in quotation marks. Notice there's a period at the end. The title of the journal, where it came from in italics, volume, issue, all of those things, including the database where you got it from. And you can see a sample here. Notice that the day is, or notice that it's, abbreviations for February. And notice that, you're going to have the link, if at all possible, to make it easy for somebody who's checking and wants to follow up in your research where it came from. Second, on the annotated bib, it's combining a works cited page with a summary response paper. The works cited page citation, 3 or 4 sentences for the summary, 1 or 2 paragraph responses to the article. Each annotation should be about 200 to 250 words. For our purposes in class, we're just doing 2 of the 4 sources. And as it is on the works cited page, the entries should be in alphabetical order. Your summary, as I said, should be 3 or 4 sentences. Identify the authors and their qualifications. State the author's thesis in a complete or the article's thesis, in a complete sentence. Identify the points the author used to develop the thesis in 2 or 3 sentences. The annotated bib is the evaluative meat of each entry. Identify your strengths and weaknesses of the article. You can compare it and contrast it to others. You should think about how the article is supporting or contradicting your hypothesis. What else do you need to think about because of the article? How's it going to be useful for your research? That's the bottom line. That's what you're evaluating it for. What question are you trying to answer? How well will the article help you answer it? When in doubt, Mount Marty doesn't have an online writing lab, maybe one day. So when in doubt, go to the Purdue OWL, which is their online writing lab. The link will be in the description box below. This link, I think, is for citing electronic sources. The link below will be for kind of the whole writing lab, the citations, the MLA format. And I think that'll be the easiest way for you if you have any questions about things that I don't necessarily cover to your satisfaction in class. Once again, I hope everyone has a good day, and I hope that this at least made the ideology paper a little easier and made some of the stuff that's coming up a little less frightening. Hope to see you all in the next class period.